Borderlands 4 just released their first DLC, and I farmed the boss 500 times, and I found some extremely interesting data. Let's get into it. Screw and Donk are the final bosses in the DLC, and they're located in the Ministry of Culture, which is in the dissected plateau of the Fade Fields. They spawn together and both share the same loot pool, so I killed them both 250 times, which gives us our 500 farms. Their dedicated drops are the Rowdy Rider Jacob's Assault Rifle, the Inscriber TDR Pistol, and the Healthraiser Rep Kit. Starting off with world drops of the 500 farms, I got 15 world drops, which means they drop a world drop about 3% of the time. Moving on to their first dedicated drop, let's go over the Healthraiser of the 500 farms. I got 27 Healthraisers, which gives it about a 5.4% drop rate. All the Healthraisers only come with one extra augment, and here is a list of how often I got each augment to appear. And here is the highest healing amount that I saw, which is 8,700. That is just the highest value that I've seen. Let me know in the comments if you've seen anything higher. Also, let me know if you guys have seen any other augments drop that are not listed here. Next, let's talk about the Inscriber. Of the 500 farms, I got 20 Inscribers, which means it has about a 4% drop rate. Of the 20 Inscribers, I only got 2 with an element. As far as the parts go, I got 10 of them with only one part, which is always going to be a TDR part. I got 9 of them with 2 extra parts, and then I only got 1 with 3 parts. And here is a list of all the different parts that I saw drop and how often I got each part. And lastly, here is the highest DPS and highest crit damage I saw on any of my Inscribers that dropped. I showed the highest DPS for a Ripper and a non-Ripper Inscriber just because I know that some people may not like a Ripper part, and I've noticed that Ripper parts always usually have the highest DPSs, so maybe if someone's looking for one that doesn't have a Ripper part, that's the highest DPS I saw, which is 7,362, versus with a Ripper part, the highest I saw was 9,014, and the highest crit damage I saw on any Inscriber was 33%. And as always, these are just the values I saw as well as the parts that I saw. If you guys saw anything different or see anything higher, let me know in the comments. Before we get into me showing you guys all the data for the Rowdy Rider, I'm going to just quickly go over some things that surprised me a lot while I was farming it. If you don't know what the Rowdy Rider does, it adds an additional 2 ricocheting projectiles when you get critical hits with it. The first thing that I noticed that surprised me while I was farming it is that some of them give negative critical hit damage, so I guess because of the extra critical hits ricochet projectiles that you're getting, a way to balance it is that some of them do negative critical hit damage, so it reduces the damage. I don't really see why you'd want to give a legendary property and then reduce the damage. That kind of sucks to me. I would be really bummed if I got like really good roll and then negative damage. So that's one thing that surprised me, is that a lot of them come with like negative 55 crit. That's the lowest, and then the highest I think is plus 21 crit damage, so you can get positive, but yeah, it goes from like negative 55 to plus 21. And the other thing that was super shocking to me was that as you can see, all of these, the first part is always Jacob's. Like, it always comes with a Jacob's part, and that's pretty common with, I think, every Jacob's legendary I've seen is the first part is always a Jacob's part. And I figured that it was the same for this gun, you know, the first part would always be Jacob's, until I got this one. And I said, this one does not have a Jacob's part. That's weird. I guess it just doesn't have a Jacob's. You know, I don't think legendaries can roll with more than 3 licensed parts. You know, they always get, you know, their legendary part as well as 3 licensed parts max. I've never seen more than 3 licensed parts on legendaries. I don't think that's possible. But I went ahead and inspected this, and it does indeed still have a Jacob's part as well as the 3 licensed parts. So this is the first time I ever saw that on any weapon. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen that, but let me know in the comments if you guys have ever seen that. That was something that surprised me a lot about this gun. But anyway, getting back to the info about the Rowdy Rider, of the 500 farms, I got 41 Rowdy Riders to drop, which gives it about an 8.2% drop rate, pretty high. It always comes in a cryo element, and of the 500 farms, I got 14 with only the Jacob's part, 17 with 2 extra parts, 9 with 3 extra parts, and I guess 1 with 4 extra parts. Here is the list of all the different parts that I saw roll and how often I saw each part roll. And lastly, here is the DPS stats that I saw and crit damage. The highest DPS was 7,031 that I saw, and as I mentioned previously, the highest crit damage I saw was 21%. Again, just like everything else, let me know if you guys saw any other parts roll that I didn't see, or let me know if you guys saw a higher DPS or anything like that. Also, let me know your guys' thoughts of that Rowdy Rider with the 4 extra license parts. I didn't know that that was possible, or maybe it's just on this item, it's like a one-time thing that can happen on this gun, or maybe it's something that has always happened and it's something I never noticed because I don't inspect guns to see if they have an extra license part, or maybe the hand crank attachment doesn't technically count as a licensed part, so it technically wasn't taking space. I don't know. I didn't know it was possible, so let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments if there's any specific items or bosses you want to see a video on in the future. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.